Hi, Susan Leahy here from robertsrulesmadesimple.com. This video talks to chairs about what to say when. There's all kinds of uncomfortable meeting situations. People walking in late, people using their cell phones. I love the people who text under the table. Or what about people who are talking out of turn? Or if there's the individual who's making the occasional personal attack. The reality is this list can go on and on and on. There are a litany of difficult meeting situations that my clients come to me with, and they say, Susan, what do I say when this happens, when that happens? Well, this video is to talk to you a little bit about what to say when. I want you to think about your job as a chair. Your job is to really make sure that that meeting is happening and moving forward productively. You're getting business done. Probably the one thing that makes me the most effective chair that I am is that I am really great at making interventions. Now, in my ebook, How to Chair a Meeting with Confidence, I talk to you a little bit about what to say when. And I do that by talking to you about making an intervention. Now, what's an intervention? And I'm saying this to you because I've gotten really good at this, and I've run really great meetings. And so I want you to learn about how to make powerful interventions. Now, this is a big disclaimer. Before I get started, I want you to realize interventions will always feel awkward to do. They will make you feel uncomfortable, and you will probably be scared while you are doing them. If you are feeling or thinking any of these three things, then you're doing the intervention properly. This is not easy. This is hard. So what is an intervention? The intervention is the act of redirecting the focus, the behavior, or action of an individual or group to keep the meeting moving forward productively. Now, let me just break that down a little bit. You are redirecting someone's action, someone's behavior, so that you can keep the focus of the meeting moving in a productive manner. Now, how many of you have ever been in a meeting where the chair doesn't make an intervention? Obviously, something awkward happens between two members, and the chair just tries to act like nothing happened. I call that S&N, smile and nod, and it just ends up making everybody feel awkward. So it's very important that you as a chair insert yourself through making an intervention so that you can redirect the behavior, redirect the action, so that you can keep the meeting moving forward. Now, everybody hear me when I say this. This is not about scolding or calling people out. This is about redirecting the behavior so that you can invite that person back into the meeting in a productive manner. You do not want to do this to close someone out. You want to do this to redirect so that they will want to move forward so the meeting keeps going. All right, so that being said, when you think about making an intervention, there really are two choices that you have to make. And I want you to think about these because it's an important part of making an intervention. Now, choice number one is really the timing of the intervention. Now, when I'm talking about timing, there's a few places that you can time it. You can either do an intervention at the beginning of the meeting, you can do an intervention right when it's happening, when the situation is happening, or you can make an intervention at the end of a meeting. Let me give you a quick example of each. Let's say that your board members are chronically late, okay? And this is an issue that's bogging down your meetings from being productive. Let me give you an example of how you make an intervention at the beginning of the meeting. So as you start your meeting, you would say something to the effect of, I'd like to just, before we start the meeting, call your attention to the fact that over the past several meetings, many members have been walking in late. It's very important that we all get here on time. So I just want to make that a goal of our group to make sure that we're getting here on time so that we can start the meeting on time. So that's an intervention that's made at the beginning of the meeting. Now, let me give you an example of an intervention made during the meeting. Let's say that two members walk in late. I can actually address those two members. Dan, Tom, I'm noticing that you're walking in late. I've also seen many others of you walk in late. We need to make sure that we collectively get here on time so that our meetings can be more productive. And then move on for your meeting. But you're making an intervention during the meeting. Now, the last place you can make an intervention is at the end of the meeting. So if you're dealing with people who are running late, this might be a smart time to make it. So you can, before you close out the meeting officially, you have the floor, you can say a few things. Well, before we close the meeting, I'd like to just make a quick statement. I want to just acknowledge that several of you have walked in late, and it's made it very difficult for us to run a productive meeting. So I want to encourage all of you next time to be here on time so that we can start the meeting when we're supposed to. Thank you. So this is an interesting thought about interventions, is you as a chair need to think about the timing of that intervention. Now, the next choice that you have to make when you're thinking about the intervention, if choice number 1 is the timing of the intervention, choice number 2 is the type of intervention. Now, there's really only 2 types of interventions that you can make. The first one is a direct intervention. Now, direct really is about being direct. You're actually going to an individual and you're talking to them directly. Stan, I'm noticing that. Beverly, I see that. And you use an individual's name. Now, this can feel a little bit scary, but if that behavior is being exhibited by that specific individual, sometimes it's very important that you call that individual's attention to the behavior. So remember why you're doing the intervention. You're doing it to invite that person back into the meeting. Let's say that Stan is texting during the meeting. An example of a direct intervention might be something like this. Stan, I've been noticing that you've been doing a lot of texting during the meeting. It's been distracting me a little bit, and I want to ask you to kind of maybe turn your phone off for the remainder of the meeting so that we can move forward. You're an important part of this meeting. And then you move on with the meeting. Now, is that hard? Is that difficult? Is that scary? Absolutely. But Stan knows he shouldn't be texting during the meeting, and actually everybody in the room has been noticing Stan texting, so they're going to be glad that you called him out and you've invited him back into the meeting. Now, that's an example of a direct intervention. The other type of intervention that you can choose to make is an indirect intervention. And that is an intervention that you make to the entire group. So let's say you've seen several people texting. You can make an indirect intervention that sounds something like this. Now, I'm noticing that several people have been texting during the meeting. I'm finding it a little bit distracting. I want to make sure that everybody's focused on the meeting, so if I could have everyone put their cell phones away so that we can move forward, it would be appreciated. Moving on to our next item of business. So what to say when is really about how do you, as a chair, really make effective interventions. You need to insert your voice into the meeting. When you see something happening with the process, when you see something happening with the people, you have to choose the timing of your intervention and you have to choose the type of intervention. Again, all this information and maybe a little bit more is included in my How to Chair a Meeting with Confidence ebook. I encourage you to read it, reread it, because it is a great resource and a great tool. I wish you luck in your meetings, and please know that I am here as a resource. My name is Susan Leahy, and happy meetings.